So it's the 1st of February and the numbers from January are already in. What's going on in this midwinter market? We're going to get right into that today. What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your realtor Nick Isgro with eXp Realty here in Central Maine. As I said, today we're going to break down all of the numbers and statistics that are going to be relevant to your market knowledge, whether you're buying or you're selling in the real estate market here in Central Maine as we head into the month of February. And before we go any further, I do want to remind you that on this channel, we cover all things real estate here in the state of Maine, particularly in the Central Maine market, to make your process of buying and selling a home a lot easier, or at least give you the knowledge that you need so that you are at the top of your game when you're going out there negotiating deals. If that is of interest to you or adds value to your process, I'm going to ask that you do me a favor, go ahead and like this video, hit the subscribe button, smash that little alarm bell, and you'll be notified every time we put out new content. Now, as always, we're going to jump right into the top of the market with the total active listings as we head into the month of February. All right, so this is a big drop. 152 active listings, down from 228 just last month. This is a big drop. It's a larger drop in overall market access that we've seen in a long time. If you go back and look, even last year, headed into the month of February, out of the month of January, we closed out with 223 listings. So you can see we would have had a much smaller dip, but big drop in overall active listings as we head into the month of February, really creating that squeeze in the marketplace. So with the big drop in overall active listings, what's going on with new listings? Let's move over there. As you can see here, in the month of January, we only added 77 new listings. Now, if you look at this graph, you can take a look at last month, the month before in December, we only added about 82 new listings. So 2 months in a row, less than 100 new listings coming to market. This is a big drop from the year prior. In fact, these last 2 months are the first time in over a year that we've had activity of less than 100 new listings coming on per month. That's what's causing this big squeeze on the overall active listings in the marketplace. I think it's important to note and just pause for a second here. For a lot of the people that have been thinking that this market's going to slow down, the seller's market's going to flip into a buyer's market, we're going to get this flood of new activity. Well, that could happen, but it's really not likely a scenario that's going to play out over the coming months. If we take a look at the activity that's going on here now, we're actually seeing an even tighter market as we head into 2022 than we saw headed into 2021, and that was coming off a very tight year of 2020. We are really getting to a point where we have the same number of buyers active on the market, but they're fighting over less and less houses that are available. Speaking of buyers, let's take a look at how many properties were actually being sold in the month of January and see if that gives us any insight into what's going on in the market. Well, not really. 104 listings were sold during the month of January. Yes, that's a little bit of a drop from the month prior, but it is exactly the same number of homes we sold in January of 2021. So we're selling the same amount of houses that we saw before, yet we have fewer houses coming on the market, and that is what is creating this overall lower level of activity or active listings that are available to buyers on the market right now here in Central Maine. So let's go ahead and just take a look at what the supply actually is. What does this overall active listings mean for supply in the market? Bringing it up here, we're going to get into the absorption rate. Now, as you know, if you watch this channel, the absorption rate is the number that tells us how many months of supply we have in the market. So if we were to have no new sellers come to the market, we were to flush everything out that we have on the market right now, how long would it take for us to sell all of the homes that we have? Bringing up the numbers now, we're looking as we head into February 2022, only 0.9 months worth of supply on the market. Guys, that is less than a month of supply. So we have a lower supply of houses than we have seen in well over the last year that we're looking at. Of course, this totally lines up when we're looking at the low number of active listings, but it's sometimes nice just to get it into the perspective of what these numbers mean. It means that we have less than 1 month of supply of homes on the market, but we still have a very aggressive backlog of buyers who are looking for homes. Now, with this lower amount of supply in the market, we should expect that sale prices would be going up a little bit. Supply and demand would dictate that the prices are going to start rising a little bit. Well, let's take a look at the sale to price ratio. Sale to price ratio being the percentage of the listed price that the home sells for. So if you have a house for $100,000 and it sells for $100,000, you're at 100% sale to price ratio. Headed into the month of February, we're at 98%, which is a jump of the previous month of just below 97%, 96.8%. So you can see we are actually tracking now back upward on the sale to price ratio after tracking down for the last several months. Now, as you can imagine, we're headed into February. It'll be interesting to see what happens this month, if it maintains steady or if that tightness continues through the month and puts upward pressure on prices. But regardless of what happens in February, remember, we are headed into the spring and summer months, which is typically where market appreciation happens. How much the homes are going to appreciate this year is still a question. As we've talked about on this channel before, you have Goldman Sachs and Zillow being very aggressive, looking at anywhere from 12 to 16% appreciation. We've had some predictions that maybe it would be a little bit more moderate, somewhere between 5 and 8%, but either way, we know prices are likely to increase as we head into the spring market. So this upward trend is already starting here in January. Going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the coming month of February. Now, last but not least, one of my favorite statistics is the average days on market. And I think this is going to be really interesting this month because it's a little quirky the way this is working out. The average days on market in this tight market that we've been talking about, you would think that homes would be speeding up in sales, but no, 42 days average on market. Now, is that like a crazy long time? No, it's not. If you look at last February, March, and April, we were in the 40s. We even hit 50 days on market at a time. But it's just interesting that when we have the squeeze on the market, we have the squeeze on inventory, we have an uptick in pricing, that it's not really playing out in how fast these homes are selling. Now, that doesn't mean that's happening in every scenario. One thing I've been seeing a lot is that realtors and sellers are getting a little bit more aggressive in keeping their prices down, which is actually creating another wave, another round, if you will, of homes that are going for massive multiple offer scenarios. If the home is priced very competitively, it's actually driving up the price on those homes. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out over the next couple months. An example, I saw a house over the weekend. It was listed at $199,000. I probably could have comped it for a little bit more given some of the other activity that I've seen in the area. But turns out there were 18 different offers on the one house. You can imagine the range of offers they got. Remember, folks aren't always picking the highest bid. People, when you're bidding on a house, the sellers are looking at not only the dollar amount that you're offering, but they're looking at your financing terms, they're looking at inspection periods and what it means for them when it comes to that. They're looking at loan types, they're comparing all kinds of things. Now imagine 18 offers on this very competitively priced house. Now, one final thing I want to go over here that I really haven't gone over the last few market updates, but I think it's important to kind of mix this in because we're looking at things like sale to price ratio, days on market, and sometimes it can give you a false sense of security that prices are maintaining because the houses are selling a little bit less than the sale price, but not really the case, because remember, these list prices could be gradually going up or they could be gradually going down over this time. We're just comparing what it sells for to what it's actually listed for. So what's actually happening? So we're going to take a look today at the average sale price, the average sold price here in the Central Maine market. So for the month of January, the average sold price, $269,000. A year ago, $247,000. So you can see the sale prices are definitely going up. That's at 8.78% or almost a 9% appreciation year over year of the average sale price here in the Central Maine market. So prices are going up, and it's important to keep that in perspective because sometimes people might get a little more aggressive on the list price or less aggressive on the list price, and that's going to affect the sale to price ratio. But overall, looks like prices have continued to go up over the last year, and of course, we're expecting them to go up as we move into the spring and summer markets of this year. All right, guys, that's really it. That's your snapshot of the Central Maine market over the month of January as we head into this February market. Now, as always, if you are in the market right now, if you're a buyer and you're on the hunt and you're looking for a house, or you might have just gone under contract on a house, if you're a seller, you've been thinking about selling, you're thinking about selling this spring, or perhaps you're in the sale process right now, please go ahead and drop a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts and commentary and engage with you a little bit on this topic. Of course, as always, if you're a buyer or seller, you just have a simple question and you want to know a little bit more about what's going on, and you just want to pick my brain, feel free to reach out. My link to all of my contact methods is in my bio, and I'm happy to answer your questions anytime. It is what we're here for. All right, again, guys, my name is Nick Isgro. I'm with eXp Realty here in Central Maine. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end of this video, and until next week, see you next time.